Kiwis, stand up.
Now, please welcome the show for bloody good Kiwis across the country.
It's time.
Time for, this is Bhuja with Lee Hart and Jason Hoyt.
Oh, g'day New Zealand. Welcome to Daily Bhuja. Great to have your company this Friday afternoon. It is the 21st of September 2018. We're heading into the weekend and we are broadcasting live from the Invercargill Brewery. Of course, in Invercargill, Lobo de Noche. Lee Hart, g'day mate. Yeah, g'day mate. Great to be here.
G'day, Chase. Oh, what a day it's been, eh? Holy shit.
Certainly has. We got down here nice and early into the Southland, Invercargill region.
Didn't realise you guys were on the 7 o'clock flight. We got the later one.
I just want to get some clarity on that, if I could, actually, fellas. Young Tom and I were there at the airport waiting for you, and you know, I've known you a long time, Lee Hart, and I said, look, Lee always leaves it to the last minute. But then we went through all the security checks. We got our boarding passes. We got on the plane, and we were getting a little bit sort of nervous about what was going on. And I said, don't worry, I know Lee Hart.
He's a professional.
He's an absolute professional. It's going to be totally fine, my friend. Don't worry about it. And then the doors closed. No Lee Hart. No Lobo de Noche.
Yeah, well, that wasn't really our fault. They didn't let us on the plane for some reason.
Apparently you got to check into flights.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
They didn't seem to know who we were. We said, don't you know who we are? We're heading to Invercargill Brewery to do a live radio show. So maybe you think about that when you don't let us on the plane.
Well, it was actually interesting because even though you guys weren't let on the plane, they told us from the cockpit actually that there was some sort of spectacle happening at the boarding area, which I later found out was actually you and Lobo de Noche very loudly and vehemently saying, don't you know who I am? Which was apparently the disturbance.
At which point we needed to sort of calm down and have a drink, so we went into the Koru Lounge, but they weren't serving beers, so we went out again into the main terminal area. Turns out they're not serving beers
then
either.
we had to go right through security again, and then we missed the next flight as well. So that's not our fault. We're professionals. I didn't want to have to pull out that card. Don't you know who I am? You use it sparingly when you have to, and it didn't work.
Well, I tell you what, despite all of that drama, fellas, we're down here in Invercargill, and I know this is the first time for you, Lobo.
It is.
It's certainly the first time for me in Invercargill, and what a special place it is.
I'm very familiar, of course, with Invercargill. Spent a lot of time here. My youth actually played for the Southland Stags briefly for a wee while back then. I don't want to go on into that. I don't really want anyone to ring up about it either. But we went out on the water. Went to Stuart Island briefly.
Yes, we did. Stoney, our good mate.
What a guy.
And look, we'll talk about that very shortly. But coming up, I think we're going into some bush, are we?
No, I think it's a bit of Toto, actually.
Okay, Toto. Nice.
Great having your company, by the way, New Zealand. Text us on 3483. Our mate Alex up in the studio in Auckland will let us know what's going on. G'day, mates.
And we've also got Tom in the text bubble.
Yes, we do,
Over down here in Invercargill as well, so we'll be crossing to him sporadically throughout the show.
So text 3483.
Bhuja with Lee and Jace on Radio Hauraki.
This life is more than just a read-through.
You got to love a bit of Toto on a Friday afternoon. Great
Yes,
stuff as
we do.
we head into the weekend.
We
Lee
don't
Hart.
play enough of it. Of course, we're live from the Invercargill Brewery down here. Simon and the fellas looking after us. Great spot, isn't it?
Yeah, bloody beautiful.
And you guys have been telling me actually that the what's the lager you're going with at the moment? What's it called? The honey.
It's like a honey something.
Yeah,
And
very
you're
nice.
saying it's very special indeed.
Yeah, very good, very good. Enjoying that.
We should get the manager of the brewery in here soon as well.
Yeah, we'll have a chat to him. We'll have a chat to him live on the radio. That'll be a huge deal for him. Now, look, just a bit of an update on my uncle. I remember I told you guys yesterday he got his testicle caught in a lazy boy chair when he was trying to push back.
Push the footrest up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he didn't get it caught in the footrest part.
But when he was shuffling his buttocks back.
Pushing back whilst he's on the lazy boy.
He's all good now. It's going to be 2 weeks.
Till 2 weeks till what?
What do you mean?
Well, when you say it's going to be 2 weeks, what do you mean it's going to be 2 weeks? What's going to be 2 weeks? His testicle?
No. That they can fix the chair. It's going to be 4 weeks for his. Be 4 weeks for the testicle to heal.
Right. Okay.
2 weeks for the chair to get. They've got to reupholster it and I suppose remove the the excess, the part of the testicle that was.
Well, I imagine there's bits of flesh in the machinations in terms of working the lazy boy. A bit of CRC would do well there, though. Get a squirt of CRC, just takes away that testicle flesh and just frees up the device a little
You wouldn't
bit.
want to spray that on the testicle, though.
Well, no, certainly not.
Tell you,
Certainly not.
if there's one term that makes me gag, it's Jason Hoyt saying testicle flesh.
That's right, and of course, I don't know if you've seen the inside of a lazy boy, Jace. Not many people.
Look, I'll be honest with you, mate. It's not something that I've ever really delved into in any great detail.
But anyway, he's doing well, recovering. A little bit embarrassed more than anything.
Yeah. Well, it's not the sort of thing that you shout from the mountaintop, really, is it? He
shouted. Don't worry about that.
Well, I'm sure he shouted when it actually happened, when his testicle was getting crushed in the lazy boy. But certainly it's one of those things where, in hindsight, it's a little bit like talking about the war, isn't it? You don't want to talk about that sort of particular scenario.
I think in hindsight, he probably wishes he didn't decide to really relax. I think in hindsight he probably found he could have just sat there as he was watching TV, remote in hand, and didn't need to take that extra step of reclining, I suppose.
Hey, now listen. There's another radio station at the moment, by the way, and that's great to hear about your uncle.
Besides us.
Yeah, there is another radio station going. They're doing a bit of a countdown, and I believe Lobo de Noche coming up. You've got a bit of a heads up in terms of what might be their number one.
Oh yeah, I think they're counting it down, but we found out what it is.
So we found out what it is, so we can break the news.
We can tell you what it is, and then you don't have to listen.
We can break it live on Bhuja.
We should play the same song.
Yeah, we might play it before.
Brilliant. In the meantime, let's get into a bit of Spandau Ballet.
Lee Hart, Jason Hoyt and the Bhuja Hawk. Till 7 tonight on Radio Hodaki.
A little bit of Spandau Ballet there on Daily Bhuja this Friday afternoon. Geez, it's great to have your company in New
You
Zealand.
never get sick of that song. Get sick of that song.
Great song, my friend. Hey, now, for those of you that are just joining us, of course, we're in Invercargill, and it's been a hell of a day. The lads missing the flight earlier on in the day.
We don't have to dwell on that,
we won't dwell on that, Matty. Then we drove down to Bluff, and we met a great character of Bluff by the name of Stoney.
Yeah, he was our skipper, wasn't he?
He was our skipper on our craft that we went out onto the water with. What a character he was, lads.
Yeah, we went over to Stewart Island, of course, and checked out a couple of hot spots that I used to fish when I was down this way back in the day, and I wanted to show you, Jace, some of these spots. And
blue cod country.
Yeah, so you could sea, not country, kind of.
Well, in terms of, what you catch in the sea.
Yeah,
blue cod, yeah.
And certainly, and you could log those coordinates, that fishing hole that I have down there. And
what was that hole called again? What was that hole called again? You were telling us on the water. I just can't recall it off the top of my head. What was the name of the hole?
Oh, yeah.
What was it again?
Peter's hole.
Oh, Peter's hole. Okay, no, that's fine. I just couldn't remember what it was, that's all.
Yeah, an old fisherman by the name of Peter File showed me that. He was he's from the File family. They
Is he the guy on the Bhuja Instagram who was getting a coffee this morning in the Koru Lounge?
Yeah, the Files. So there was John, Stephen, Andy, and Peter. And I used to go fishing with Peter File.
Right, okay. And that was the name of the hole, Peter File.
Yeah, well, he found
Peter's hole.
Yeah.
Okay. And was that a well-known sort of blue cod sort of spot, was it? Or were you catching other things?
Wasn't back then. But
cooties?
A few cuties. But we mainly were targeting the blue cod because they hang out there. So so that's where we were today. We came back, of course, on the Staby craft. What a craft that was!
Oh, what a great
twin Mercury outboards on the back.
Well, Matty, of course you've been out. I mean, I don't want to get you started on your marine career, but of course you're a very experienced marine person. You were quite impressed with.
Yeah,
I
mean, I almost feel like I could have taken you through that security, that sort of health and safety check at the beginning. Obviously, pointing out the EPIRBs and the SARTs.
Yeah.
And
you kind of were crapping on about them quite a little bit afterwards. Actually, to be honest,
it takes me back. How good was Stoney though? It's the most impressive skipper I've ever seen, because I didn't see him steer the boat once, but he did delete about 4 beers and have a live grenade in his
Well,
bag.
you know that's
Unbelievable.
That Stabycraft boat they're on, it actually has a computer, drives by itself. You can put the coordinates
Autopilot.
in there,
Autopilot,
and it'll drive there by itself.
Or is it more auto skipper?
It's an auto skipper.
Well, Stoney took full advantage of that, and boy, he was hooning those beers.
Look, and I'll be totally honest with you. While we were waiting in the boat before we went out into the water, Stoney brought out his slingshot, and he had peppermints that he was firing into the wharf. He also brought out
Cool mints, I believe.
cool mints. He also brought out a steel ball bearing, which he called, in his words, a dog stopper.
He said quote unquote, that'll knock out a dog.
Yeah.
And then he pulled out a live grenade, which really kind of confused us.
Scared the shit out of us.
More than that, surely, Stabycraft, Jace.
Yes.
Okay. What a great business. We stopped down there on the way down, saw the team. I didn't realise what a success story that is.
Absolutely.
All the workers down there. I showed them some of my welding, see if I could get a job perhaps with them, but they weren't too impressed. It's a while since I've done any welding, and it was a little bit all over the show. There you go. But I tell you what, Stabycraft, Chase.
Yeah.
You know how they get that word?
Stability.
That's right, mate. Stability.
Because they're stable.
Because these are
now I get
stable vessels, mate.
And I tell you what, we are in some pretty rough water. We're talking 8 to 10 metre waves out there, and I didn't feel a thing.
No.
I did not feel a thing. But yeah, no, it was a great adventure on the water with old Stoney and his ball bearings and his grenades. And
You could almost feel how our forefathers at Radio Hodaki, when it all began on a boat, felt being a top radio DJ, vomiting over the side of a boat.
Absolutely.
It's in the veins, isn't it?
Sure is.
Here's a bit of a...
Oh, no, you do this one.
Yep. No, here's a bit of Australian crawl. There you go. Love the song.
We're only here to make you. We're only here to make you. We're only here to make you go.
Little bit of Milli Vanilli there on Radio Hodaki this Friday afternoon. Very nice to have your company. We're broadcasting live from the Invercargill Brewery in Invercargill, and we have our good mate young Tom with us down here in Invercargill, and he's having a great time, isn't he, fellas? He's very excited.
He loves getting away out of the Auckland studio on the road with us. I mean, we're old Hansard, of course. We've done plenty of tours all over the world, Jace.
We sure have,
locally.
mate.
And it's great to take young Tom with us and show him the ways of touring, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely, my friend. And we're going to cross to our good mate Tom now in Studio B.
Sorry, fellas, came in a bit hot there.
No, that's all good, mate. Now, listen, one of the difficulties we often have, of course, when we're doing a live show from a different location is we find it very difficult in terms of the textual machine. We understand you've got the text there with you, Tom. Anything we need to know about at this point, my friend?
A lot of people bringing out that there's no security at Invercargill Airport. Your story doesn't check out. Jace hit this harder.
That was Auckland Airport that we had the issue.
Okay, so we're fine on that one. Get some blue cod. Get some oysters in you boys. You deserve it. You're bloody great Kiwis.
Oh, thanks.
It's a good one there.
Well, I have to be really honest. I was devastated when we came down here to find out when we were going to Bluff that, of course, it's the end of the Bluff oyster season.
Yeah.
Though our driver... Jody, sorry. Yes, she promised that she would actually get me some Bluff oysters, so I'm holding Jody to that, and I expect a platter. I don't want to be, a wanker here, but I expect a platter of Bluff oysters.
You are the talent.
Well, I
Jason.
am the talent.
You certainly came across as a wanker when you sort of scribbled down a rider and handed it over to Jody as she was driving us from Queenstown to Invercargill.
I thought it was a little bit, you're coming down from Auckland and that, and I know you're a big star up there, Jace, but asking them to tell people not to look you in the eye, not to stare at you and walk behind you, I found a little bit over the top. And
if you want to put chicks, quote unquote, on your rider, at least spell it correctly. You didn't CHIKS. That's unprofessional.
Look, as you say, Lee Hart, we've been on tour many times, my friend, over the years, from many different occasions. And a rider, as we all know, is especially important in terms of making sure that we deliver a top quality radio show. And really, when I gave Jody the rider, it was really just to make sure that we did a good show and that you guys were at your very best when it came to show time.
And originally, of course, on my rider was I needed a couple of dozen Wakachangi, and I knew I was coming to Invercargill Brewery, but I didn't know what their beer was going to be like, so of course I insist on drinking my own beer when I'm at someone else's brewery, which a lot of people think's rude. Of course, I've tried their beer now, and it's fantastic, so I've left those beers back at the hotel, and I'm drinking the Invercargill. What's this one called, Matt?
Something to do with honey.
Yeah,
There's certainly honey in there.
It's a honey sort of lager.
The Wakachangi request certainly wasn't the most ridiculous when you asked, but you asked for a kilo of M&Ms, but only the green ones. I mean, I'm pretty sure they all taste the same, don't they?
Yeah, pretty much they do, Matt. Now, listen, we are aware, of course, some people will be aware, of course, that a very big rival station of ours at the moment is doing a big countdown of all their greatest hits.
Is it like Voldemort? You can't say the name.
You cannot say the name, and I believe that you have the number one hit for that particular 1500 countdown, Matty.
Oh yeah, no, I texted the guy who works at the Rock. He texted me back. He said it was
What is it, Matt?
Guns N' Roses' "Sweet Child of Mine." Apparently.
Sweet Child of Mine is
So
number
you don't
one.
have to sit through the next 2 hours. Just you can. We'll play that song
You
soon.
heard it
Maybe.
here first.
Yeah. Really dragging it out a bit.
I think that's quite nice of us to leak that first. Promo it, I suppose, for them.
And I tell you what I was really excited about, listening to Radio Hodaki this afternoon as we were driving around various places, to hear the People's Top 10. And it's really fantastic. It's really fantastic that the people of New Zealand got to vote for their top 10, because forget all your top radio DJs, forget your prime ministers, forget your half-assed reality TV celebrities. What I really care about, fellas, and I know that you agree with me, is what the people of New Zealand want as their top 10.
And if you didn't vote, don't complain if you didn't like the songs, because they are the people's. It's not like someone back there in the studio just pulls them out of a computer, is it?
Absolutely not. And I believe the number one song was a Queens of the Stone Age song, Maddie.
It's an absolute humdinger of a ditty.
I tell you what, isn't the common vernacular, it was a banger.
And absolute bang. Speaking of which, are you still applying for that job at Banger Hits?
No. I'm still very seriously considering Manapoto Gold down in Hokanui.
I've had an offer to come to the South Island and do menopause hits. So basically, it's for the target demographic is older women.
That sounds like a lot of Shania Twain.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff, a lot of easy listening, but it's a mixed bag.
And can I ask in terms of that, Lee Hart, was it the breakfast show, the afternoon show, the drive show? What area of Menopause FM were you going
Well,
for?
the thing about Menopause FM, you don't know when you're going to be on.
Let's play a song.
Yeah. 1 minute you could be in the morning, then you're asked to come in the afternoon. It's a bit all over the show in a way, that hence the name, but don't know.
Tom, just turn the text machine off there for a second, mate, as we go to another tune. Thanks, Alex.
Oh, make me over.
Welcome back to Daily Bhuja this Friday afternoon. Now, a lot of you will be aware, of course, Matty, that there's a lot of concerts going on in January around this great country of ours.
When it rains, it pours, Jason.
Yes, it certainly does. And one of those, of course, is Fat Freddy's Drop.
The old Trickle Down tour.
Trickle Down tour.
Yeah.
Of course, they released their album Trickle Down and the single Great Song.
Yeah, 8 gigs in January.
Indeed. Now, listen. While we're away, it's often difficult, of course, to get the phone lines going, so we're going to give it a bit of a test now. So if you want those tickets to Fat Freddy's Drop, give us a call now on 0800 Hodaki, and we'll have a bit of a chit-chat, Lee Hart.
Which caller number are we going for, Jason?
Oh, I don't know. I think what we'll do is
Keep it as simple as possible. Let's just get
we'll let our
Alex
mate,
can just...
Alex to choose.
Of course, Unknown Mortal Orchestra just got announced. I think it's, I could stand corrected, but Auckland, Christchurch and Queenstown, I believe, going to be playing with Fit.
And I could be
You're looking at me
putting
funny.
the band back together too for a bit of a summer tour later on, but more news on that when I know more.
Actually, it's actually very exciting being down here at the Invercargill Brewery, because I see that actually there's some drums set up over there,
Yeah.
Lee Hart. There's some mics set up, and all the people that are here at the moment, and it's growing by the minute, are very excited about your 20-minute music set that you're going to
Yeah.
do of acoustic
I
originals.
believe we've got Danny from Hamilton on the line.
Oh, is that who it is? Danny, g'day, mate.
G'day, mate.
How's life, Danny?
Yeah, real good. How's it going, boys?
Yeah, good, thanks, buddy. Very well indeed. You ever been down to Invercargill, Danny?
Nah, not a chance, mate. It's way
No,
too
you got to
south
get
for
down
me.
here. You got to meet Stoney.
It is great being here, and I was obviously went down to Bluff and we went down to Stewart Island in the boat, but it's a great feeling thinking you're literally at the end of the country. You know, you look at
Absolutely.
that weather map every day and you go, that's where we are.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
totally. And Danny, what's the plan for the weekend, mate? What's going on for you?
Probably just go to the beach, go to Waihee. Hope the surf's good and just relax.
We used to have a
Have,
beach
have,
in
a, have a
Waihee.
few wakachangies and unwind.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Do you do a bit of surf casting while you're there, mate?
Yeah, oh, mate. None of that. We just put the Kontiki out.
Oh,
Yeah, the old Kontiki, guy, that takes me back.
does it? Did you used to do a bit of content,
Yeah,
did you?
yeah.
Okay.
I thought that was on a bus in London, though.
Now, Danny, obviously you want to go and see Fat Freddy's drop, yeah?
Yeah, of course, boys, of course.
Oh, well, I tell you what, the good news for you, my friend, is you've got a double pass to go and see Fat Freddy's drop. Did you say you're in Hamilton? Is there a gig in Hamilton, man, off the top of your head?
I'm drawing blanks here, Jason.
Oh,
but
okay,
I'm
no,
sure
that's
we'll
all
figure
right.
something
Yeah.
out.
I think there's one in Tauranga. Pretty
Yeah,
good.
we'll get you to the closest one.
There it is.
Beautiful.
Hey, Danny,
Yeah.
you stay on the line, and our good mate Alex will take care of you, mate. You have a great weekend. Thanks for calling.
Thank you, boys. Have a good one.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.
All right, let's go and do a bit of John Farnham here on the radio.
Bhuja with Lee Hart and Jason Hoyt.
Little bit of Alison Moyet there for you on Daily Bhuja this Friday afternoon.
Never get sick of that song. I tell you, I could hear it 1,000 times. Alison Moyet. You don't hear enough of her.
Yeah, absolutely, my friend. And can I tell you, I'll be honest with you, when I was in my sort of mid to late teens, I had a hell of a crush on Alison Moyet. Not as much as a crush as I did on Kate Bush, of course, but Alison Moyet really did something for me. And you know, I'm looking around the crowd that's building up around this brewery right now, Lee Hart. Good Southland people, you know, and they're there in their shorts and their jandals. And here we are.
Real people, Jason.
Real people, absolutely. Here we are in our puffer jackets.
Well, I don't have a puffer jacket.
And our boots and our woolly socks and stuff. I mean, I'm beginning to feel like I need to harden up a bit, Lobo.
Yeah. I mean, that scarf that's sort of wrapped around your
Well,
neck
it's more of a cravat
I
rather
don't
than
think
a
the
scarf.
cravat works down here,
the
Jason.
cravat thing. Yeah, that's the one.
It's setting the wrong tone. I think you're coming down here, you're a big wig from Auckland, you got a cravat on,
The
weird shoes.
I tell you what I'm really regretting, actually, is wearing the waistcoat without the shirt and the cravat.
And the white pants.
And the white pants.
You're sort of the only person here with a sailor's hat on who isn't a sailor, and your one's sort of. I get that you're doing it in like a fashionable way, but there's a lot of fishermen here.
Well, admittedly, I've been walking around talking to a few people saying, "Ahoy there, matey!" And that hasn't been going down as well as I had initially hoped
I heard
it
you
would.
say to one guy, "Ahoy" there, and winked at him.
Yeah.
That was quite
yeah.
good.
I thought that was quite special, actually.
To be honest with you, I think not to. What's the word? I don't want to generalise. I don't want to. But you do look like you've walked out of a gay bar. Be honest.
You are wearing stonewashed skinny jeans.
Well, look, I always, like to take care with my appearance, and particularly when I'm going to different towns and places, I like to sort of, try different things, and maybe the cravat, the waistcoat, but the winkle pickers work surely.
I'll give you that.
I mean, the man bag. I'm not sure if that's necessary. What the heck do you have in it?
Especially when you got the fanny bag as well.
Yeah, well, you know what it's like when you're on tour. You've always got your phone and your wallet and all sorts of detritus that you need to carry around with you. And so I do like to have the fanny bag, as you so rightly called it, Matty, just to make sure that I'm not encumbered with too many things.
I just don't think it's it's not your job to carry tampons around for other people, just in case someone wants, in case someone wants one. So why do you need tampons in your?
You certainly won't need those at Menopause FM.
No.
Oh boy! Now listen, Alex. I'm having a bit of a fade here because I can't actually see any screens in front of me. What song are we going into here, mate?
We're actually going into a Fat Freddy's drop song.
Oh,
Trickle Down.
brilliant!
Should have given why the tickets here. That would have been a lot more
That would,
fitting.
yeah, that would have been segued quite nicely, wouldn't it? Oh well.
Get some shots.
The fat beats there of Fat Freddy's Drop here on Radio Hodaki, live from the Invercargill Brewery in Invercargill.
Funnily enough.
Yeah, funnily enough.
And it's certainly starting to build up here. The crowd is building in. We've got people of all ages, creeds, cultures all coming in here. And
It's brilliant, isn't it? And I'm literally looking out the window here, and there's about 4 or 5 youngsters, toddlers, I guess you'd call them, some babies. It's a real family affair here in Invercargill at the moment, Lee Hart.
That's right, Jason. I saw you outside there before. I'm kissing a few babies, as you do when you're on tour. It's part of your contract, I suppose, to do that. When you're in the regions, you go there and spread some of that radio love.
Yeah, absolutely, my friend. I could feel my clock ticking, as it were. You know what I mean? I'm a very paternal kind of fella, and when I see a baby, you got to say g'day. I guess in some ways, being a top radio DJ is very similar to being a top politician. And I believe on the flight back, on the way down here, fellas, you were next to none other than Simon Bridges.
Yeah, I was situated next to Simon Bridges. He fell asleep on my shoulder a couple of times, and you know how they do that questionnaire quiz thing just to sort of occupy people's brains
Yes,
while they're
indeed.
on a flight. One of the questions was in which form of how did Jacinda Ardern announce
Break the news of her baby.
Of her pregnancy, yeah.
and it was obviously Instagram, but you know how you get a cookie or the chips. Simon was halfway through his cookie, and then as soon as that Jacinda Ardern question came up, he threw his cookie at the wee screen, which I thought was
a fit of peak, as it were.
Yeah, I mean,
I actually write a lot of those questions for Air New Zealand. A lot of people don't know that. I get paid to come up with the questions because of my general knowledge. And what do you think of them?
yeah,
Generally pretty impressive, actually.
Not bad.
It always keeps me occupied when I'm on the plane, freaking out a little bit because I get anxious when I fly, as you fellas well know. Now listen, when we're on tour, one of the difficulties we often have is for Name That Tune. Now, Lee, I'm looking around the place. I don't know that anyone heeded our call yesterday afternoon to bring a guitar
I
down.
think there probably is a guitar over there on the stage, but I just can't be bothered grabbing it.
Okay, well, I'll tell you
fair.
what we'll do. We'll go into the news, shall we? And after that, we'll attempt to name that tune.
Maybe I'll whistle it or something.
Yeah, that sounds great, mate. Sounds great.
This is Bhuja with Lee Hart and Jason Hoyt.
Yeah, sure is great to have your company this Friday afternoon. Hope you're having a good day as we head into the weekend. We are broadcasting live from the Invercargill Brewery in Invercargill. Speaking of lewd photos, Maddie, weren't you saying that you were in the motel room just earlier taking a lewd photo of yourself, and then you discovered that there were scaffolders just outside your window?
Yeah, well, who expects a scaffolder to come up and sort of be walking past your window on the 4th floor at a hotel in Invercargill? But what do you know?
Oh, there you go. If there's
you're
scaffold
trying to-
there, you got to be wary.
You're trying to get the right angle to make it,
Is that
Flattering.
normal practice for you when you get into a hotel room to immediately strip off and have a bit of a go at yourself? Is that something that you always do when you're on tour, or is that something that was just particularly special now that you're in Invercargill?
Well, it's a good way of gauging the light, I find. When you're in your hotel room, you sort of see which shadows and which
It can take the edge
contrasts.
off a strange place, can't it?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, sure.
Becoming familiar with yourself in a strange place can sort of just, ease you into it. Have we got Name That Tune coming up now? Or?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's totally up to you, of course, my friend.
don't have a
You're
guitar,
the
though,
one
mate.
under the pump, but you don't have a
I
guitar.
don't have a guitar. What I might do, I might whistle. I've done that before. I might whistle a bit of a tune. And there's a bit of a clue for you. This tune is an instrumental. And how many instrumentals are there in the world? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to
Quite a few, actually, but
yeah.
yeah.
I'm going to whistle a tune, and hopefully someone will guess what it is.
Fantastic. Before you get into that,
Yeah.
when you are doing these lewd photos, Matty, is there more than one recipient of the lewd photo, or is it just to a particular person?
Well, it's not. I haven't even sent them, to be honest. It's
You
more
just store them up for a
You
rainy day.
just for your own sake?
It's just for me.
Right, is
sort
that
of
like a self-affirming kind of thing that you do or something?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like when you treat yourself to a sit-down wee every now and then.
Okay.
It's just like a bit of a pat on the back.
All right, I got you.
Good stuff.
But now it's time for Lee Hart's Name That Tune.
Tell you what, we've just had some bluff oysters.
Oh, beautiful. Jody has delivered again. Bluff oysters and whitebait fritters.
So my lips are a little bit greasy. It's going to be quite,
A slippery whistle.
quite hard to do this. Here we go.
One more time.
And if you're just tuning in, that is quite possibly the most half-assed thing you'll ever hear on the radio in New Zealand.
Absolutely. But if you can name that tune, give us a call right now on 0800 Hodaki. Love to hear from you.
Lee Hart, Jason Hoyt, and the Bhuja Hawk. Till 7 tonight on Radio Hodaki.
Smashing Pumpkins there on Radio Hodaki this Friday afternoon. Very nice to have your company in New Zealand. Before that, of course, we had Lee Hart's Name That Tune, and what a half-assed effort it was.
That was piss poor.
I can tell you, though, despite all that, in the break there, while that song by Smashing Pumpkins was playing, I was hoeing into some big, fat, plump bluff oysters in a lovely light batter. And boy, oh boy.
Boy, I'm glad you said bluff oysters.
Oh, I tell
some
you what,
some
delicious.
whitebait patties, some big, thick, chunky whitebait patties. Beautiful.
Beautiful, my friend. Now, as always, the phone lines apparently have gone crazy. So let's go to Jimmy. G'day, mate.
G'day, mate.
How's life, Jimmy?
Oh, yeah, good, thanks.
Very good. Where are you calling from, Jimmy?
Auckland.
Okay, cool.
Now, Jimmy, you reckon you know this song, do you? I'm going to give you a clue. It's a bit of an oldie, so it's probably well before your time, but what do you reckon?
Is it Good, Bad and the Ugly?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's not a
I
bad
see
guess,
what I
actually.
see where you're going with that, Jimmy.
That was... the Western thing, isn't it?
I've got no idea, but I'm afraid to say, Jimmy, you're not correct. What's the plan for the weekend, Jimmy? What are you doing?
I'm going to a birthday party and we're playing a couple squash competitions.
Brilliant. Good on you, mate. Hey, well, Jimmy, try again some other time, mate, but thank you for the call. We appreciate it. You have a great weekend, buddy.
I haven't played
Okay,
squash
thanks. You
since-
too.
Thanks, mate.
I haven't played squash since... actually, I don't think I've ever played squash. To be honest.
I've only played a couple of times, and I choose not to because it brings out the worst in me.
Yeah, absolutely same. I found it a really irritating game because where they hit the ball towards, you run towards, and then, of course,
Yeah.
it ricochets in all sorts of
It's
angles.
the only time I've ever genuinely called someone a C-bomb.
Yeah. Now, we've got Jessica on the line. G'day, mate.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, very well, Jessica. Yourself?
I'm good.
Good, good. Where are you calling from, Jessica?
From the motorway, we're just on our way down to Waihi Beach for the weekend.
Oh, this is the second
Everyone's
person today.
off to the
Everyone's
island.
off to
I know.
Waihi Beach. Beautiful. Is there something going on at Waihi that we don't know about, Jessica?
No, just my family batch is down there.
Are you the surf club end or the Bowentown end?
We're just by the flat white.
Oh, yeah, about halfway.
Right, okay,
About halfway
nice.
there.
Nice.
Good spot
Yeah.
off that white.
It is. Now, Jessica,
It is.
can you name that tune?
Is it Apache by the Sugar Hill Gang?
This is where it gets awkward.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to have to say no on this occasion, but it's unfortunate.
It is, Jessica. You were so close. But the good news for you, of course, you're going to Waihi.
Yes, that's true.
You're gonna go for a bit of a trek over to Orikawa?
Potentially.
Nice.
Very nice. Hey,
It just seems
Jessica.
to me like you're just trying to drop in how much you know about
Yeah,
that
can you
particular
just
artist.
stop it now,
a bit
please,
like-
Matt?
bit
Yeah,
like-
it was
Oh,
like
yeah.
Matt on the boat today, Jessica. You know, we went out on this boat, and you know that Matt's had some experience on boats.
Used to work on
God, he
yachts,
crapped on about it. Just on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
But have a great weekend,
Some-
Jessica. Thanks for the call.
Some people don't
Thank you,
appreciate
you
it
too.
when you tell them what an EPIRB is, you know?
Now we've got Paul on the line. G'day, Matt.
G'day, mate.
How's life, Paul?
Life is wonderful, thank you.
Oh, that's great to hear. Where are you calling us from?
I'm from Wellington.
Nice.
Can't beat Wellington on,
Yeah.
on a good day, mate.
You came up with that phrase,
Yeah, I
didn't
did,
you?
yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant. What's your
right.
plan for the weekend, Paul?
Bit of work, bit of family time.
Good on you, mate.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right, can you name that tune?
I believe it is Apache, but by the Shadows.
Let's just play a little bit so you get the tune. I was listening this bit here.
And Jessica's defence, I only knew the Sugar Hill Gang version.
Yeah, this is obviously the original.
Bit before my time.
Well, the great news for you, Paul, of course, you're completely correct, my friend. So you stay on the line and our good mate Alex will sort you out with some sort of fantastic prize. How does that sound?
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Good on you, mate. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks, mate. Let's go into a tune.
It's the great Hank Marvin, of course, on guitar there, Jason.
Right, was it?
Yeah.
Great stuff.
There you go, rock and roll on the radio.
Bhuja with Lee Hart, Jason Hoyt, and Lobo de Noche, the Night Wolf on Radio Hodaki.
Oh, you got to love a bit of cold chisel on a Friday evening, fellas. I tell you what,
Barnsey
going
Oh,
off.
Mossy on guitar there, I tell you, it's a great sound.
Going off. Now, you were saying just during that cold chisel song, actually, Lee Hart, we've got a bit of a cash giveaway.
Yeah.
Great stuff, mate. Tell us all about it.
Well, what it is, often when we go away, it's hard to take a lot of the stuff, with you, merchandise, T-shirts.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
hats. All that sort of stuff. Yeah, absolutely. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Why do you think I've got all these, that got the fanny bag and stuff?
Yeah. I had to wear 20 T-shirts down here just to get them down here. And that's hard and it's bulky and this kind of stuff. So sometimes when you travel, it's just easy just to give away cash. So what I thought, what we'd do down here, let's give away 50 grand, eh? 50k. Nice round number.
Is that cash?
Cash for the next person that rings through. 50 grand cash. There you go.
Well, no, hang on. We've had a lot of issues with the whole cash giveaway sort of idea. Really, I mean,
let's just keep it simple.
I don't want to be in Invercargill, giving away $50 cash to the next caller through, and Bogsy's down on my ass. Oh, 50,000 cash.
Bogsy's what?
Down on my ass.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. Now look,
Thought I misheard you for a second.
so I think it's simple. Either text in, say I want the 50k, and we'll pick a text and get that money to them.
So what? We'll pick a text out of the hundreds that come in saying, I want 50k.
Yeah.
Tell me, how do we determine what text to choose if they're all saying, I want 50k?
We'll throw a dart at the computer.
I'm
I think it's nice and simple, and I don't like hoops. You know that. Let's just give away 50 grand cash, and hopefully they listen to the station.
still stuck on that Bogsy call.
And there you go. How's the text machine going, Tom? We got any text yet?
So what we're saying is that all you need to do is text in on 3483. I want $50,000 cash,
Yep.
and you could win $50,000 cash. How are we looking there, Tom?
Okay, let's pick one. There you go. Trudy. There's Trudy's texted in. She's just won 50 grand. Well done, Trudy. Good on you.
Yeah, we're looking at a text machine here. It's Trudy in Avondale in Auckland.
There you go. 50
taking home
grand,
50K.
Trudy. Good on you. Enjoy it.
I just can't help but feel, though, Lee Hart, that, we've got our Triple Threat Tuesday, of course, where we have the $33,000 cash, and people actually do have to make a bit of an effort to win that $33,000.
But it's tedious.
It's been such an extraordinary success, and to just willy-nilly give away $50,000 just because we happen to be in Invercargill and, telling people to text through on 3483, I don't know. Lobo, your thoughts?
Don't drag me into that.
I think it's nice and simple. I like it simple. It's great promo for the show. Hear about that Trudy. She just won 50 grand.
God, I just wish I could do this kind of crap on the night show, Count yourselves lucky.
I don't think for a minute it's not a great promo. Don't get me wrong. I mean, giving away $50,000 cash is a fantastic thing, Lee.
Actually, I feel a bit. Who was just under Trudy?
That's Rob in Barrington and Christchurch. Rob in Barrington and Christchurch.
Is it?
Yeah, below Trudy.
Okay, let's and just above. Steve.
That's Steve.
Okay, let's give Steve 50k as well,
Terry just missed out.
just to show how random it is. Let's give Steve 50k as well. Christchurch.
I'll get that in logs.
So Trudy, you take 50 grand, and Steve, in Christchurch, you get 50k as well.
This beats the hell out of 15,000 song countdown, doesn't it?
Yeah, certainly does. Actually, is that really interesting? I feel quite good about it now when I think about the latest lotto results. You know, and the $1 million winner, and it was shared between 38 people.
Yeah.
That'd piss you off.
This is Lovely, the band, I think.
Oh, is it Lovely? Indeed, AC/DC there on Radio Hodaki this Friday evening. Very nice to have your company. I was outside just before, fellas, getting a bit of fresh air.
Yep.
And who did I bump into but our old mate Stoney? And for those of you that are just joining us, actually, we met Stoney today in Bluff. He took us out in the boat, and we did
skipper,
a bit.
yeah.
He's a skipper. We did a bit of fishing with him, and he was a real character, wasn't he, Lee?
He scared the bejesus out of us when he had a live grenade on him.
He literally had a live grenade in his bag, and a few beersies and things as well. And he gave us
Slingshot.
He's an old sea dog, isn't he?
Salty sea dog.
A salty sea
blood
dog
in his veins, seawater in his veins.
Certainly. And whilst I was outside actually getting some fresh air, I met another punter who I'd never met before, as you do when you're in a different place. And he was the guy that came up with who knew the history of the Foreskin brothers.
Yeah, well, I think he's related to the Skins.
What were their names again?
Was it Dale, Brad, Gary, and John, wasn't it?
That's only three.
Dale.
Yeah.
Barry.
Oh, Barry.
Yeah.
John.
And who? Was there a Greg? Greg Foreskin.
There might have been a Greg Foreskin, quite possibly. Now listen, we are at the Invercargill Brewery down in Invercargill. We've got a live band set up, and I'm hoping what we're going to do a little bit later on is that Lee Hart has promised to do a live 20-minute acoustic set. And Matty, I don't know...
I might be electrified tonight.
Oh, it might be electrified?
Yeah.
Okay, that's even more exciting. I don't know that you've ever seen Lee Hart live on stage, and let me tell you something, mate. He's one hell of a performer.
I've heard good things. I've heard very good things.
I leave it all out there on the stage. Blood, you name it, sweat.
I heard you do quite a good a cappella Andrea Bocelli, Con te patrio. Or
Yeah, I
time
often
to
start with that.
Time to say goodbye.
Then I'll get into the guitar or something, and I normally smash quite a lot of gear up. So I'm just hoping. I don't know. Don't
What,
know
in the
these guys
bathrooms
that
before
well.
it?
Well, no, on stage
No, I
and
got you.
anywhere really. But if you don't own the gear, sometimes it's nice
Well,
to check.
actually, you need
it's nice
to-
to check with the guy, Jace, if you're borrowing his guitar and say, look,
Yeah, can I smash it up a
do
little
you mind
bit?
if I smash it up a little bit at the end of the show?
Now, we went out on a Staby boat today, and how good was that, Mike? That was an amazing vessel. And actually, above the stage where we are a couple of hung Staby crafts vessels. And I just hope that they stay where they are whilst you're smashing the place up, because you don't really want a Staby craft falling down on top of you in the middle of your set.
Apparently, immediately after the show, we're actually going to be playing Hermit, which is when you obviously jump into an area of your own and you have a box of beers by yourself, and then you can rejoin the group. So we're getting a boat each.
Well, I'm wondering whether we should give one of these boats away to a listener.
Well, look, in the break, as you can imagine, we had some frantic calls with regards our $50,000 cash giveaway.
Yeah, so who...
well, Steve...
Trudy got
50K. 50K
Steve,
cash.
Christchurch,
Steve
50K as well.
Christchurch, 50. So 100K we just gave away, unsolicited and unverified, I might add.
I'll talk to Bogsy. It'll be fun.
I've got 17 missed calls from Mike Lane. Do you think that's related to this?
Possibly. I'll tell you what, with regards to the live show that we're doing tonight, I can be very honest with you. I'm a little bit tense about my 45-minute improv set.
But
you know, you've got, as I say, I've never been to Invercargill before, and you've got to sort of know your audience when you're doing improv. So I'll be honest with you, fellas, I'm a bit tense about that.
I'm bloody.
You'll be right, mate.
I'm bloody nervous because genuinely we've got a sports bar in the lobby of our hotel, and the jackpot's at about 889 at the moment. So I can only imagine it's pretty close to that ton when we get back. And
I was actually going to ask you guys, after we've been at the brewery, and we'll be here for some time, obviously, what's the plan afterwards? Are you guys you doing your normal casino/stripper scenario, or are you just going
there's
straight
a sports
to beer?
bar in the hotel this time, so
Right, okay.
it simplifies things a little bit. I don't know if there's any strip bars in Invercargill.
I know that we can charge drinks back to the room, but I'm trying to figure out how we can sort of charge money that we blow on the pokies back to our room, if that's possible.
Well, you were saying, when you're in that scenario where you're asking, can I put another hundy on my hotel room? It does get a bit embarrassing, doesn't it?
We may need to borrow some money off Trudy or Steve.
Absolutely. Alex, mate, can you tell us what song are we going into here?
We're actually going into some ads, a little ad break now.
Ads, are we? Okay,
Sure
mate, are they good ads, Alex?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. Double check before we went into
I
them.
did tell him this, Alex. He doesn't listen to me.
That's fine.
It's just...
Sorry, mate.
That's all right,
Let's
guys.
have some ads.
That's all right. Here we go.
I've said it once, I'll say it again. The phrase is, I want to make out with you. Not with you, it is with you.
Well, the song's actually
If an incredibly attractive woman came up to me and said, Jace, I want to make out with you, I obviously would, but I would at least get her to say it again.
I thought I'd let you go on for a little bit so you sounded a little bit embarrassing, but it's make it, not make out.
Okay, make it. Well,
with you.
That's by the by, Matt. Make it with you. It's make it with you, please.
Okay, you want me to put that in an email to them?
If you could, that'd be great, mate.
God, I think it's too late for that to be in the podcast.
How are their durations?
I have no idea. How long was that song, Alex?
That one, give me 2 seconds and I will check for you. Let's have a look here.
I just want to get everything in the one email to them, that's all.
That one's quite long, coming in at 4 minutes 26.
You see, well, with you and 4:26. I say we scrap it, fellas.
Yep. Well, let's scrap it until they address it.
Yeah, okay, thanks. And I'm glad to see that you're on my side now. I've got in the computer file here top tips. Is that something that we're going to be doing at this point, or is that something that's just pie in the sky?
We went fishing today. One of the things
Is this a top tip?
It kind of is, yeah.
Okay, Alex, do you have the top tip sting up there? Thanks, mate.
I'm not too sure which one it is. I've just sort of got a page here of stings.
The green one.
Yes.
Sorry, Jace is really putting you on the spot.
That's all right. I've got it here. I found it. Do you want me to play it now?
Yes, thanks, mate.
Here we go.
Jason Lee's top tips.
Now, when you go fishing, normally you go to a boat ramp. If you're launching the boat, down the boat ramp.
Indeed, yep.
And then you launch, then you put the boat back, and then you do the whole process when you bring the boat back. But if you've got the right kind of conditions, flat, calm conditions, you're not going too far out, leave the boat on the trailer. Strapped in there, just unhook the trailer, and you know, if you're only looking at going about 5 knots or so, you can putt around the harbour out to where you want to be fishing with the trailer still attached to the boat. Then you come back in, attach it, pull the boat out, of course. You wouldn't want to do that in your choppy conditions or...
Right, okay, so it has to be...
too far. Nice, flat, calm.
A sedate sea, as it were. Yeah, because I would imagine there would be some buoyancy issues, Matt. You know, being an experienced marine man, there'd be some buoyancy issues in terms of leaving the boat trailer on the boat while you were putting around.
Yeah, well, it's obviously all about the displacement with boats and stuff.
I mean,
so if you've got the trailer attached still, you're obviously going to be sort of dragged under by the
remember,
by the
you're getting some buoyancy from the tyres, from the trailer as well, so that they will float. I mean, the trailer will float, technically. Attached to the boat, of course. You're not going to get the same performance. Don't get me wrong. You're not going to get the same performance out of a top.
You don't want to be going out
into
deep. You don't want to be going out into deep water. Is basically what you're saying.
You can be deep water as long as it's not too choppy. Because the performance of the boat will be affected. Don't get me wrong, if you've still got 4 metre trailer attached to your boat.
I think one of the major issues that I'd actually have with that, because often when we go out in the boat, we're fishing, Lee Hart. I'm seeing some tackle nightmare scenarios, some nesting of the reel and so forth. And I'd imagine having a boat trailer attached to your boat would cause, particularly if you've got a big marley on there or something like that, do you know what I mean? And you're trying to reel it in, that will immediately wind itself around the said boat trailer.
Yep, you can get lines tied up to the axles and stuff of the trailer, because you got to remember normally when you're on the high seas, you don't have a trailer attached to the boat, do you? It's just a normal hull.
Yeah,
and those lines are going to be running free. You're right. If you have got you got to know what you're doing. If you've got the trailer still attached to the boat, you can get some nesting issues, some snags, and that kind of thing. But again, horses for courses, people. Judge those conditions and do it right.
And to be fair, when a boat's on a trailer, it's not really strapped down, so you're pretty much going to be dragging this trailer along.
No. Good point you bring up there, Matt. No, you do want to have the straps on it. You do want to strop it, if you like, to the boat,
Or
so they remain together as a unit.
Right, okay.
And I'm talking about your nice stainless steel trailer, of course. You know, you're going to have some rust issues if you've got this trailer
going out deep ocean all the time. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I can tell there are people at home listening right now wondering this. And yes, it is only a 2-hour show today.
Yeah.
Probably wishing it was longer, but you know we can't keep this kind of standard up.
Or perhaps wishing it was an hour and a half.
For another hour, surely.
It takes its toll, is what you're saying, Lee Hart. Absolutely.
Yep. I think we're going into Super Groove.
Are we?
I believe so.
Jeez, that's good. Can we do that? Oh, yes, indeed. Old Jay there on Radio Hodaki, live from the Invercargill Brewery in Invercargill. I love this. I have to tell the people.
It's got to be you to point that out every time, Jason.
Well, Mike Lane always says to me, when you're in a different location, you've got to let people know where you are, Jason.
Yeah, but I think you're kind of flogging the horse twice there. I mean, the Invercargill Brewery, I think people would suspect is in Invercargill.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point.
I tend to side with Lee on that one.
But I just have to say this.
So I'm saying, welcome to the New York Convention Center here in New York.
Well, they actually do say that, though.
Do they?
Yeah. Like when they have shows like that, they say, welcome to the New York Convention Center in New York. Now, listen, we had a guy come in just before, and he was very stoked to meet Maddie, as you would be. He's a top radio DJ, and he said, Maddie, I'm really sorry to say, mate, there's not many ladies here for you tonight. I didn't know how to take that, Matt. How did you take that?
Well, I know how to take that because Jace, I blame you for that. You seem to give off this general idea on air that wherever we go somewhere, I'm on the hunt for ladies.
That's why they do call you Lobo de Noche, the night wolf. It's got nothing to do with your DJing. It's extracurricular activities.
Certainly not the case at all whatsoever. Quite the contrary.
And I've always said, ever since you joined the show, Maddie, actually, that you are the Lothario of Daily Bhuja.
Look, I'm not going to deny that as soon as I joined the show, there was a lot more female attention. Sure, I'll give you that.
Oh, look, and I've always said that you are the eye candy of Daily Bhuja. There's no question about it.
And I'm not going to argue that either. But I'm certainly not in Invercargill.
It wouldn't be hard, though, would it? Wouldn't be hard to be the eye candy in this lineup.
Well, that's true.
Come on, Lee. You're a tasty dish.
You're a good-looking fellow, mate.
Do you think so?
You've got a great look going.
Why did you tell me that at the start of the show?
Shaved head. You've got a hirsute, bear-like body. There's certainly, and you're an A-grade celebrity as well, mate. Add that to the list.
Hey,
you're a good-looking fella.
There's a lot of ladies out there who'd love themselves a Lee-sized slice of pie. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I'll be there to give it to them.
Oh, God.
Yes, indeed. Now, I believe the General is following us, fellas, and it's always good. It's a shame that we actually can't get him on the line, actually, because it's always good having a bit of a chat with the General, isn't it?
Yeah, we don't do it enough.
Because, obviously, normally, of course, Matty, you do the night show.
Yeah, and I'd be telling you what's happening on it, but I would not have a bloody clue.
Yeah, exactly. And it's always nice to have that linkage between shows, isn't it?
I know John Toogood's got a show on at 9.
Oh, yes, of course. Of course he does.
Planet us out.
Now, listen, New Zealand, thanks very much for your company this Friday afternoon. We greatly appreciate it. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend. There's no sport on this weekend, really, of any note.
Not a lot.
No test matches?
I'm going to be going around tomorrow in Invercargill here, hanging out with the Stags and stuff and talking to them about rugby and sharing some ideas.
Do they not have an away game this weekend?
Do they?
I don't know. I can check it. I can check.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, you used to be a Stag, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, briefly. I mean, I ended up getting moved out of town, but And
Yeah. Hey, listen, New Zealand, you have a safe and a good weekend.
They played in Northland on Thursday night.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So they'll be back. They'll be back.
They'll be back. Hey, and take care of each other out there. On behalf of myself, Lobo de Noche, Lee Hart, have a fantastic weekend. Until Monday, yes, man.
And keep an eye on the Daily Bhuja Instagram, because there'll be plenty of content
lot
going
of
up
action
there throughout the evening.
Absolutely. Hey, Alex, great work, by the way, mate. Thanks for all that up in the Auckland studios, buddy.
No problem, team. Thank you, guys.
And those are the Auckland
Thanks,
studios in Auckland.
Yeah,
Thanks, mate.
Absolutely. Have a great weekend, New Zealand. Bhuja to you.
Bhuja. With KFC's crispy onion ring burger. It's finger licking good. The Matt and Jerry Show with Boundary Road Brewery.
I thought you did an excellent piece, Matt. I really enjoyed it. Great advice. Don't be an a-hole.
Yeah, take your own advice every now and then, Matt. Would be quite good.
Matt Heath and Jeremy Wells for breakfast. Weekdays at 6 and 24/7 on iHeartRadio.